Hello everyone and welcome back to this, this week and next week will be the finale of a run of miniatures that I was sent by Mark Littler quite a while ago. It's taken me a very long time to get through them, so I apologise to you and to Mark. But this one is one of the most interesting ones. This is from Glen Mhor. Now Glen Mhor, spelled M-H-O-R, was one of three sort of original Invernessian distilleries up and around the city of Inverness, the other two being Ben Wyvis and Glen Albyn. Glen Mhor and Glen Albyn are both owned by Diageo, or indeed those stocks of whiskey still are. Ben Wyvis is weirdly owned by White and Mackay, and they don't seem to do anything with it. I can't remember when Ben Wyvis closed. It opened pretty late, I think it was like 1965 or something Ben Wyvis opened, and then I'm sure it stopped in like the 70s or something. It only existed for about 10, 14 years, something like that. So not a lot of Ben Wyvis around. It's really difficult to get your hands on. This particular bottling of Glen Mhor, which came in this original little tweed packaging thing. It's not real tweed, it's just cardboard, but it looks quite nice. Part of the 100 proof collection from Gordon and MacPhail. Now the 40% version of this whiskey, both in this small one and in a regular bottle, is actually quite easy to come across. The 57% one is quite difficult to come across. In terms of some general facts and figures about this particular bottle, should have had this ready a while ago, but we actually have some more information about this particular distillery. So the Glen Mhor is Glen Mhor 8-year-old. So here we go. We have, there isn't a full-size bottle of this for sale currently anywhere in the UK. The last time it sold on auction was in July 2023 for £380. That's for a full bottle, not the miniature. This has a whiskey-based code of WB18390, and Whiskey Fun gave it a score of 86. So this classic northeastern Highland whiskey. If any of you still use Facebook, if you just type in Glen Mhor into Facebook, I forget the gentleman's name. He either used to work for Malts or he used to work for another very well-regarded online writing blog thing. He has essentially put together an entire history of Glen Mhor. It's just a black circle as their profile picture with a Glen Mhor written on it in white. If you want to know a lot about this distillery, I'd recommend just hitting up that Facebook page because there is so much information. But here we have it in the glass. It's very pale liquid, 8 years old, 100 proof. Have a little smell and a little taste and see what's happening with this very unusual closed distillery. Ooh. I have tried this before, and I did do a written review of it for Mark's website. Happy to report it hasn't really changed a lot since. It does not smell like 57% whiskey. If you think of things like the old Ben Romack 100 proof whiskies, even things like Glenfarclas 105. This has nowhere near the intensity of them. What it does have, because I'm assuming there's a little bit of sherry influence in this too, it has this really unusual thing which all high strength, relatively young Highland and Speyside whiskey always has for me. And it just smells a little bit like brandy snaps, and there's almost like a hot toffee sauce thing like straight out of the pan with it. And it's really fruity. There's these kind of banana-y, pineapple-y notes. But it feels rich, it feels very decadent, it feels very complex. But the smell is this beautiful sherry toffee sauce that's covering fruit. But it does remind me a lot of brandy. Or you begin to taste the 57% once you start to roll it around your mouth. I'm pretty sure this is a 70s bottling. I can't remember when, but I'm pretty sure it's like mid to late 1970s this. and the intensity that the whiskey has still got inside it is quite impressive. We've tried a few of these really off-the-wall miniatures, and some of them have fallen really flat in the bottle. Some of them are okay. Some of them are very, very, very tasty indeed. This is very, very tasty indeed. But do I think it's as good as an 86 that Serge gave it? The smell is certainly alluring. It's a smell which does make me like want the whiskey more. I know that's seems like a very commonplace thing to say, but for people who are used to smelling and tasting and assessing whiskey, and that's everyone who's watching one of these videos, the first smell is so important. And I always believe the first thing you smell is kind of what the master blender, the master distiller wants you to smell first. And that should be like such a key alluring point for you. And the smell of this does make me want to drink more of it, that's for sure. I've actually just remembered, this was ages ago, I've actually just remembered why Ben Wyvis is owned by White & Mackay, and it's on the same site as the Invergordon Grain Distillery, which is owned by White & Mackay. So that's a random fact that's just popped back into my head. Sitting this in the glass a little bit longer, there are more big sherry notes coming out of this thing. There's a little bit of debris in the glass as well from just some sediment in the bottle. This really nice, like poached pear, almost red wine kind of note. Great nose. It seems to span across loads of different types of spirit. I mean, mainly whiskey and brandy, but there is a nice bourbony richness to it as well. It does remind me a lot of Benromac, but without the smoke. It's tangy and it's rich. Very dominant, long-lasting. Good flavours. I mean, if this was released today as an 8-year-old at 57%, I'd absolutely buy a bottle of it. 380 quid for a full-size bottle. Like, yeah, it's a closed distillery. That's not the most money you'll pay for a closed distillery. You think about Brora, Port Ellen, St. Magdalene. But it does have this just, I keep wanting to go back for more of it. This might actually be the first review where, of these minis where I agree with Serge. An 86 is kind of perfect for this. It's rounded, it's interesting, it's got a great smell, it's got a great taste, the finish is very long lasting. It's just a shame it closed. Maybe, I'm pretty sure the only Glen Mhor I've tried. Pretty sure about that. If I don't remember the last one, then that's not a good sign. But this might be one of the few closed distilleries where you can say the liquid is actually very good quality. You can't say that about all of them. And that's not a harsh reality because a lot of them closed for a reason. But yeah, I agree with Serge at Whiskey Fun. This is a perfect 86 out of 100 or an 8.6 out of 10, whatever you want to say. But yeah, this is the Gordon MacPhail Glen Mhor 8-year-old 100 proof. 8.6 out of 10. There you go. I will see you all next week. Or I might put it out this week, actually, I'm not sure. For the final one of this. But just to give you all a little bit of a sneak preview, if you just stay there. Mark's been a busy fella. So, this is only about half of all of the other very interesting miniatures that Mark has purchased for me to write about, talk about, taste and review with all of you, as well as onto his website as well. But just to give you some glimpses into what we have here, hopefully those two are okay. This is a box. This is a bag of an old Glenallachie 12-year-old. There's a Tamnavulin Glenlivet, a Tomintoul Glenlivet, a Dufftown Glenlivet. This one is solo. This is a 22-year-old Highland Park bottled by Cadenhead. That'll be fun. Here we have a Moss Towie, another closed distillery, and a Balmenic 1970. This is a Tamdhu and a Glen Rothes, both in a very similar packaging to the one we just tried, but both at 40%. And then this is very interesting, 2 sets of bags. These are 3 different Tamdhu 10-year-olds. 2 of them look identical, but I think they are vaguely different. Tamdhu's always fun. And then this is a box of a Glen Mhor 12-year-old, a Longmorn 12-year-old at 40%, and then a different version of a Longmorn 12-year-old at 40%. So we will be doing these. We'll probably end up doing them in, they come in, most of them are in bags of 3. So I'll probably end up doing them in 3s. I need to buy a lot more glassware. But yeah, there is a lot more cool, weird, vintage miniature stuff on the way, so keep an eye out for that. But yes, I'll let you all finish with the day now. I will see you all soon, and yeah, have a good week. Thank you.